today 93. Happy Good Friday, everyone. Today, despite the name Easter having nothing to do with it, we remember the sacrifice of Christ, his his leaving equality with God and choosing to come and walk amongst men for 33 years and ultimately to die at the hands of those men, for those men, that those men might find reconciliation with God, that we might find reconciliation with God. Um, Easter's it's always an interesting one, I think, because I think the eggs and the bunnies truly can sometimes take away from what happened. And yeah, we I think we do a good enough job of drawing our attention back to what really was important, but I feel we don't, at least I don't hear as much about how unjust it was, unjust it was for Christ to be crucified in the manner in which he was. It was torture, it was a slow and painful death. And it was unjust even by the standards at the time. He had done nothing wrong. Legally, um, of course, according to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, he done a lot wrong by claiming to be God, by claiming to be able to forgive sins, by inciting the people against their teachers, by fraternizing with sinners and prostitutes, and um, yeah, in their eyes, he was a troublemaker. Anyway, he died, but he rose and he lives. Cool. Judges 10 to 12 this today, and Tola becomes a judge. I didn't know there were Nigerians in the Bible, but alas, it would seem God has proven me wrong. There seems to be one, Tola. Anyway, Tola becomes judge, Jai becomes judge. And what I'm noticing is, as with all the cases, or most of the cases in the Bible, it isn't necessarily an exhaustive record of everything that happened. Like, Tola was judged for 23 years, and there's no indication of what went on um, during that time. Probably because it was not of note. Um, but um, we'll come up to someone who was of note in this instance. But the other thing I think to note about that is, in this describing what's going on in history, it is not prescribing that we do the same. It is not condoning or um, um, holding even in a positive light what happened. Is merely recording what happened that was of note. And after these two judges, Israel again does evil in the Lord's sight. He abandons them. They get to dire straits. They plead, and God then, you know, um, said he is grieved by their misery, and he's gonna raise another person to come. Now, Jephthah, this dude, um, son of a prostitute, but one of Gilead's sons. He had been kicked out by his brothers because he was a prostitute son, but he was a good fighter, a great warrior, he's described. And he was then called when the Ammonites were attacking, called to come and lead because they recognize it was good. It's one thing, right, to be good enough, and I think it's important for us to be good enough that we can't be ignored. That's been like my mantra. This from way back in karate days. Right, be good, so good that you can't be ignored. And as much as he was kicked out and they didn't want him to get any of the father's inheritance, they went for him when they needed him because he was that good. Now he's challenging them. Okay, if I win, you guys will make me ruler. And they're like, yeah, cool. So he goes in. He goes to fight. Well, he actually sends a message to the king of Ammon, and in that message we see something of the mentality at the time when it comes to sort of gaining and losing land, right? The king says they stole land when they came out of Egypt. And he's saying, God gave us the land. And he justifies it with, having fought and won that land. Um, and it very much gives an idea of this is what it was like in at the time. This is what the norm was. Again, Bible was not prescribing that this is what we do. It's just giving an account of what it was back then. Um, but Jephthah goes and then he does this vow where he says whatever comes out of his house to meet him when he returns in triumph, he will sacrifice as a burnt offering. He goes off, fights. His daughter comes out. Now, he has made this vow, right? But I think I'm pretty sure we have seen vows. No, maybe not now, not yet. No, we haven't seen vows be broken yet. But we we will see vows be broken, right? Especially when the vow inadvertently does something that God literally says He doesn't want. He said they should not sacrifice their children in a way that the pagans do. So the fact that his daughter comes out and he feels he has to carry on with his vow, I think is silly. The other thing as well is we haven't seen vows broken per se, but we have seen that someone can overrule. So, like for instance, a wife's vow can be overruled by her husband. I don't see why that can't be applied to his own vow. Like there should be some. I'm sure there was some way. Like if he was to go to the to the priest and say, "Does God want me to sacrifice my daughter?" Well, he said no. He doesn't want you to sacrifice your children. And figure out a way to outcome that. But alas, he didn't. She then goes off to mourn her impending doom, um, and that becomes a culture where young Israelite women will go away for 4 days to lament her fate. It's interesting. Anyway, Jephthah becomes judge, and um, Ephraim attacks him because they didn't invite him to go and fight, it would seem. But then they had been invited, and they just hadn't come. Um, and so there's this tension, a bit of fighting, a bit of killing there. 42,000 worth of killing there, so yeah, more than a bit. And that was just in the 6 years that Jephthah ruled. So you can see he's definitely one of note. And then we have, a few others, 3 others that become judge. And there isn't much. They all seem to, well, at least the first and the last seem to have lots of sons. But outside of that, nothing of significance. And so, yeah, that's today. Tomorrow's readings are Judges 13 to 15, and God willing, we'll be here